Hi guys, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Buongiorno, buonasera. I'm just waiting for Alessandro from Mauro Sebaste to join me. Good morning, good afternoon, hi everybody. We are going to have some fun talking about the white wines of Piemonte, and I'm very excited. Hi, Grappateca, chin chin. From Mount Etna in Sicily. I love Mount Etna. Chin chin. I'm just waiting for Alessandro, guys. Welcome. Ciao, Alessandro. Hi, guys. We're going to be talking about Piemonte today. I'm very excited. Let's just see if we can get Alessandro on as well, and then we can get started. Here we go. Hi, Wine Muse. And we're connecting all the way in Italy. Alessandro.
Oh,
Ciao, come stai?
ciao. Bene, finally I get inside.
Finally, it's okay. The first time is always a little tricky, but
Yes.
how are you doing?
I'm fine, I'm fine. Here we are at the end of a long day, but we are happy. Happy to be with you and with all your guests. Thank you for welcoming us.
Thank you for being here. What were you guys doing in the winery today?
Well, we are doing many things because we are really busy in the cellar for the preparation of the new wines. We will bottle next week, so tomorrow we will have a long tasting day because we meet all together for tasting all the new wines. So we are preparing the samples for tomorrow. It's a hard job, but somebody has to do it.
He has to do it. You gotta try all.
And in plus all the office work, and the guys are out to prepare a new parcel. So especially of Viognier, we are today planting a new parcel of Viognier. So working on every side.
Awesome. Well, welcome everybody. Thank you guys for joining us. Alessandro, first of all, is the export manager. That's your title, correct? At Mauro Sebaste.
Yes.
And we are going to let some of the white wines of Piemonte shine today. Piemonte is so well known for their Barolo and Barbaresco and even Barbera, and the whites don't get enough spotlight. So we will be talking about a couple white varieties. Roero Arneis is the first, and then our Langhe Bianco, which is Viognier, and then if you want, we can talk about Gavi as well.
Yes.
But why don't we start by just talking a little bit about Piemonte in general?
Yeah, okay, with pleasure. Piedmont, I don't know if everybody knows where is Piedmont. Somebody I see on the markets, some confusion. We are in the north, west of Italy, so we are very close to the Alps. We are lucky because when you see the pictures of Piemonte, you see all the hills with the vineyards like airs on the hill. And we are surrounded by the Alps chain. So we are divided by France by the Alps. We are 300 kilometers from the Costa Azzurra. So the southern part of France is a particular weather because we are close to the mountains, so the mountains bring us the cold air from the mountains, and we are warmed by the sea. Plus the altitudes gives a very particular area. Here in the past there was the sea, and in fact in our soils there is a lot of sand. Mixed with marl, calcar, clay, so all this mix of different weathers, mountains and sea, and the soils, the difference of the soil make a very particular environment for the wine. Here we are in an area where there are so many autochthonous varieties. As you said, the majority are known and the majorities are in red, but we have also some autochthonous white varieties like Arneis and the Cortese, which is the grape variety with which is produced the Gavi. But sincerely, for making strong, important white wines, we cannot pick from the autochthonous varieties because are varieties that place more on the freshness, fruitness, immediate wines. So basically, the producer of this area pick from foreigner varieties.
Okay.
The most known are Chardonnay, Sauvignon. And instead, we worked on the Viognier because we wanted to participate to this process of the reintroduction of the Viognier in the world because 40, 50 years ago was nearly disappeared, the Viognier.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite varieties, and I worked in Central Coast, California, which is a similar climate and soils to the Rhone Valley in France, so there's actually a lot of quality Viognier there as well. Do you have Riesling planted at all in Piemonte?
Sorry?
Do you have Riesling planted at all?
Very little because it's not the right weather and soils. There are some, not bad, but it's nothing comparing the real Riesling.
Of course, yeah. And so what is the ratio, do you have an idea of like the percentage of red wine produced compared to the percentage of white wine produced in Piemonte?
15-20% maximum of white wine and 80-90% of red wines.
And so what is kind of your market for the white wine since it's such a small production? Do you find that you are selling most of them within Italy, within the region, or do you have specific markets where the white wines do better?
Mostly they are worked everywhere. For us, the white wines are to complete our range of wines in order also to enter with some markets. And the first we started to develop the Roero Arneis because, as we will discuss later, we are strongly focused on the terroir approach and on the autochthonous grape. Our range is very divided in many wines, and some wines of the same area but from different soils, or different same variety but different areas. So we strongly believe in a work based on the variety and terroir focus. So the addition of the Arneis was for us an important thing to give a light to a white wine of Piedmont. The project of Viognier comes after because we wanted to be part of this project of the reintroduction of the Viognier. We have been one of the first in Piedmont to produce. Now there are just 4 or 5 producers. It's not very common, the Viognier. And it was because we wanted to have an important white wine, a structured white wine for a long aging. This is not the case of the Arneis, so we were looking for a foreigner variety to apply on our terroir. So from here starts the idea of the Viognier. And the markets are, we produce around 10,000, 12,000 bottles of Arneis and just 2,500 bottles of Viognier.
Very small.
Yeah.
All the more
Sorry?
all the more special, the smaller production.
Yes. So they are a little distribution. The majority of our Arneis goes in Switzerland, then in the States, in United States, which is our second market for Arneis. And instead the Viognier is a new introduction from the last year in the States.
Okay, very cool. For everyone that's just joining, welcome. We are talking about the white wines of Piemonte with Mauro Sebaste. And Alessandro, why don't you go ahead now and just talk about a little about the winery and the story behind the winery if you want to. I know that
Yes,
Rose mother
with
was
pleasure.
a matriarch that was very inspirational with the winery, so I'd love to hear the story from you.
Okay, but well, we are an historical winery from Piedmont. Mauro Sebaste is the owner, but he's also the enologue, so it's a family winery. He leads this company since the 1990 with his wife, Maria Teresa. And now, in the last years, also the daughters, Silla and Angelica, are participating to the company. And in plus, we are 5 employers. Me for the export market, 2 in the vineyards, and 2 in the cell.
Great.
So this is the team. We work over 30 hectares, of whom 10 are in property and 20 are rented. Those hectares are split in Piedmont, as you have understood. So we have hectares in the Roero, so in the northern part of the Tanaro River, where we have the Arneis. Here in the Langhe, in the Barolo area, mostly in the village of Serralunga, but also in La Morra and Verduno, so other famous villages for the Barolo area. We are investing also in the Barberas from Asti, where we have bought some land there in the village of Vinchio, to show which is the difference between a Barbera from Alba and from Asti. They have a completely different soul. Then we produce Moscato d'Asti, again very little quantity, 5,000 bottles. In mango, so are split everywhere in order to find the best soils for our idea of wine. As Mauro's story belongs to the beginning of the century of his family. The first to produce wine was his grandfather, and it was his mother that started to transform the bulk production of the grandfather of Mauro in a production to be commercialized in the 50s, 60s. In the 70s, Mauro entered in the company and started to be the enologue of his own company, for then leaving the family company in the 90s and then starting the Mauro Sebaste company from the 1990s.
Quite a history in winemaking.
See. It's a long story because for making wine needs a generation.
Yeah.
Needs a lot of experience. Madame de Rothschild was used to say that making wine is easy when you have the 200 years of story. So we are working on this.
Well, it's so different than in America, because here it's not. In Italy, there's a tradition where the wineries are passed down from generation to generation, and I'm sure it will probably continue with the Sebaste family. But in America, it's so different because people just have the money, start a winery, and it's a new project. So we kind of don't have this incredible depth of history that's backing up our.
Yeah. The problem is that it is very, very important, the experience, because in your life sometimes it's very undervalued, the work in the vineyards for the wineries, because there is no vintage like the other. It's not possible to reproduce the work that you have done last year the next year. So you really need experience to understand the different evolution of the weather. In your life, you have, if you are lucky, 45 harvests, no more. So 45 possibilities to produce the excellence. And is enormously limited. So it's so important to experiment, to implement the experiences and the work of the generation, especially in learning the soil, in learning how to work the soil, how to choose the plants, how to manage those plants. Every corner is different, so there is really the need of learning year by year, generation by generation, how those plants will react with this particular weather. And it's very undervalued, this thing, for the wine producers.
I agree. What is I know that you're sourcing fruit from other vineyards and you have your own vineyards, but what is the oldest plot that you're in Piemonte?
Sorry, sometimes I miss your voice.
It's okay. What is the oldest vineyard that you're working with, whether it's owned by the company or?
But our oldest are around 40, 50 years old. The oldest in the area turns around 90 years old, but we believe normally it's considered that an old plant gives more quality than a young plant. Okay, this basically is correct, it's true, but we have to think always to the story. If you consider to this area 40, 50 years ago, this area was not the same as it's now. It was a poor area. No? The family were producing wine just for the family consume. While they were working potatoes, they had the animals. So it was not completely the reality that there is now. So very often there weren't the right plants planted in the right place. What we are working on is to renew the majority of our parcels in order to study the chemical structure of the soil, to study the exposition. We cooperated with the University of Turin, the capital of Piedmont, in order to find the right and the best clones for that soils that we have. So first of all, is a project of quality, starting from the analysis of the soils that we have, finding the perfect clones for what we wanted to do, and then we are reorganizing also the density and the structure of the vineyard. Basically, here we work with the 4,000, 5,000 plants per hectare. Now we are going to work with the 7,000, 8,000 plants per hectare. This will lead us to have a shorter distance between the plants, more competition between the one to the other, so deeper roots, more natural environment. The plants will find better their nutrients, they will be more protected by heat, which is increasing in these years, and by cold in the winter. And in plus permitted to do shorter cuts on the plant, so to produce shorter and to increase the quality. In this way, consider that we produce the same quantity of grape as before, but with more plants. So each plant make less effort. So use all its energies for a less production. For example, in all our top range wines, we leave only one bunch of grape per plant, per branch, sorry. Each plant has 3 branches, so each plant produces only 3 bunches of grape, which is really limited, but in this way the plant can produce the highest quality.
And I also read that when it comes to, obviously it depends on the variety, but when it comes to the clusters, you even will sometimes clip the wings as well and the tip to further increase.
Yes, we do mostly on the Nebbiolo, where we cut the extremities, so the shoulders and the top of the bunch, because it's in the extremities where there is more acidity and less maturity. So we cut it in order to increase even more the quality of the maturation.
Very interesting. And then the soils that are mostly sandy, marl, and calcareous is what you're working with.
Yeah. See, then it depends a lot by where, but basically yes.
Okay, cool. So, should we talk about the wines?
Yes, with pleasure.
Arneis first, maybe? What do you have?
Yes.
Yes.
Arneis.
Perfect. You can really taste your efforts in the vineyard in your wines, and I knew that when I tasted the coffee and when I tasted these today as well. It's just, wow, the aromas and on the palate, the concentration of flavors is phenomenal. So do you want to tell us about the variety in general? Because maybe people here don't know so much about Arneis and how it is in the vineyard as well.
Yes, but Arneis, as we said, is an autochthonous grape from Piedmont. It comes from the northern part of the Tanaro River. The Tanaro River is the river that crosses the village of Alba. In the southern part is where there are the Langhe, so where there is Barolo and Barbaresco areas. In the northern part there is the Roero. The most known wine from Roero is a wine made with Nebbiolo grape, which is named Roero, but also the Arneis. Arneis is the only autochthonous grape from this area, or well, the most known, but also the Arneis around 30, 40 years ago was nearly lost. So there has been a strong work of the producer of this area to replant, reintroduce the Arneis. Arneis is a funny name, but reminds something connected to our dialect.
Okay.
The Arneis in Piedmontese dialect is a kind of funny guy that makes jokes, brilliant, enthusiastic, energetic. No, this is an Arneis in our dialect. And at the end is the soul of this wine. So a wine explosive, fresh, immediate, energetic. So those are the characteristics that should be in an Arneis, okay?
Definitely showing here. Is it a late ripening? It's an early ripening variety. It has a pretty high acidity as well.
Earlier ripening. Arneis is normally ready in the end of August, beginning of September. Then it depends by the soil, because even for the Arneis, the soil is important. As change the soil, change the Arneis expression. In fact, we have selected 3 different soils for making these Arneis. One sandy, one with clay, and one with marl. Okay. Plus the expositions, southeast, and southwest, in order to have 3 different characteristics. Consider that the sand gives a faster maturity, so you pick earlier the Arneis on the sand, then comes the clay and the marl. And the sand gives freshness, gives minerality, gives an immediate feeling, but not a lot of structure. So we have combined with a parcel with marl and clay in order to give more body and more richness. So what we wanted to get in this glass is an explosive, fresh, immediate white wine with a lot of fruit, but in the same time sapidity, acidity, freshness that clean the palate, making the wine very, very pleasant.
It is all of those things. You get so many. It's very rich in fruit. I would say like the stone fruits, a little bit of the peach, and then the salinity and the minerals come through. But on the palate, it is so fresh. This is right now. I'm in Texas. It's so hot here, and this is definitely what I want to be drinking right now.
Teaching. For us, this is our summer wine, no? When you don't know what you drink an Arneis in freshness. It's the pool wine where you can enjoy, mediate, open, drink, and get fun with it.
Yeah. Is there, so Piemonte, you're very famous for truffles as well, right? Are there any dishes that you make? I know that's traditionally paired with Nebbiolo, of course, but are there any dishes in Piemonte that you would pair a truffle dish with a white wine? Or is it just too overpowering?
Truffle with white wine can be, but should be more gastronomic dish. So something like with truffle cream, perhaps on the pepper, in pepperoni. Pepperoni with a truffle cream on it, then you can combine with a white wine. White wine. And especially extractor white wine like the Viognier.
And you guys, if you have any questions listening about the varieties or Piemonte, don't be shy to type up here and we can answer.
Okay. An interesting thing, I tried to do an experiment. You know, I'm not very used to use Instagram. We are in Piedmont, we are traditional.
Traditional mindset.
Traditional minds in all. I was trying to show you a little video, so I see if I can do it through the web, of a process that we do, which is very important, the selection process of the grapes. Let's see if I can.
If we can see.
If you can see. Do you see something?
Yeah, hold maybe, yeah, perfect.
Okay. This is a shaking carpet that we have created in the cellar. When the grapes picked arrive to our cellar, they are thrown on this carpet, and you see they are manually selected by Mauro. Mauro is this young guy here. He's listening, so I have to say that he's young.
Cheers, Mauro.
Um, So the grapes are thrown on this carpet and manually selected. Then we use frozen ice, dry ice, to chill the temperature. Being harvested in the end of August, beginning of September, here we can have 30 or 35 degrees. And especially the white grape don't express well the juice at those temperatures. So we chill with the dry ice, we select manually excluding the leaves and so on, then are destemmed with a machine which is used, there are only 3 or 4 in all the Piedmont, is a destemming machine that works through an oscilli system, so without never breaking the stems. And goes very pure, so we don't press it, but goes directly in the vats.
Oh, you don't? Okay.
Very soft press and up in the vats.
Okay, wow.
So this permitted to be very clean and precise, and the grapes cold at around 15 degrees express much better the purity of the fruits.
Very much so. Wow. And then this obviously is only seeing stainless steel, your Arneis.
Yes, stainless steel with all temperature controlled. So the temperature control starts from the grape selection until the end, until the bottling. And all our wines are bottled with an isobaric machine, so that bottle under the same pressure and temperature. So this preserves a lot of the white wines, and we can add a very little quantity of sulfite. In fact, we are at around 50-55 micrograms of sulfite in the white wines, and just 66, just a little bit less in the red wines. Consider that the biologic law, organic law, admit 150 in the white. So we are 1/3 less of what the organic law admit. So no headache.
No, but, wow.
Except if you drink 5 bottles, but this is not our fault.
Okay, should we taste our Viognier now?
Yes.
Langhe Bianco. So tell me, for Langhe Bianco, for the DOC, is it that the wine needs to be 100% of a single varietal? No.
No, not necessarily. Langhe Bianco is a DOC which includes many varieties. There is no particular law that oblige you to work in purity or to choose any particular. In fact, you cannot write on the front label. But being a Viognier, not an autochthonous variety, goes or in the Piemonte Viognier, but is considered the lower DOC. Instead, this is a Langhe Bianco. The word Langhe means that is a Viognier, is a white wine cultivated inside the Langhe area. So it's a more restrictive area comparing to the Piemonte, so it's a upper quality. But at the end, can be inside the Langhe Bianco nearly everything. You should know the producer. Our Langhe Bianco is you find the Viognier written on the back label. Here.
It's beautiful. I love
And this is the label. Where at the end I take the occasion that you gave me for the label. This part of the label, you can see there are all the letters that combine the name Centobricchi. Okay, and this is for every of our wines. But the lower part is different of every one of the upper range. And this wants to remind that the wine comes from this soil. Instead of the Arneis, all this part, the lower part, are wanted to symbolize the vine lanes around the hills, which is our logo.
Very beautiful. And what does Centobricchi mean? 100 bricks?
100 hills. It means that is an old name that we had of is a brand for us, the Centobricchi. In the beginning, in the 90s, was a wine, was only a red wine that was made from several parcels. Instead, now we have two Centobricchi. One is a Barbera Superiore and one is this Viognier. This Viognier comes from two parcels, so not 100, but just two.
Just two, yeah, not 100.
Just two.
Let's see. I mean, this is a beautiful, also very expressive on the aromas. You can tell that your process in the vineyard and in the winery makes a difference. Like.
See, but Viognier is, you probably know much more in the United States because it's much more common now in the United States, but is mostly known for the Condrieu wines, where is the original area. But the story of the Viognier says that it was a Roman emperor from Dalmatia brought the Viognier grape in the French area. This is the legend. And the Viognier comes from the Celtic wood because produce a lot of vegetation. They found an analysis, a DNA analysis, and has something in common with the Freisa and Nebbiolo. So from grape varieties from the Alps, by far. And is a mix between the creaminess of a Chardonnay, a sapidity and acidity of a Sauvignon, and the aromatic side of a Traminer. No? Is something in between that has a lot of different sides.
I don't know. You guys, let us know if you enjoy Viognier. For me, it's one of my favorite varieties because it's so aromatic, but then you still have that always a great mouth texture, great mouthfeel, and this is fabulous as well. You get the peach and the apricot. There's always apricot in the Viognier, and I love that. And the florals, that honeysuckle. Great acidity as well. Yeah.
The two wines are the completely two opposite conception of white wines. If the Arneis is the immediate, fresh, mineral, easy white wine, vinified only stainless steel, the Viognier instead is a completely different conception. Is conceived for being an important white wine, made for gastronomy, made for food, made for a long aging. You can leave the Viognier warming, and while it gets warm, open its structure, its complexity. Little by little, you will have every minute a different wine, until the room temperature, when we'll have open all its fruits. Yeah. No, is vinified in oak. So.
I was going to ask you. Go ahead.
See, only oak, so also fermentation, alcoholic and malolactic fermentation are in oak, which are tonneaux of 400 liters of French oak, which are toasted with water vapor or infrared light. So they are not toasted with fire.
What? I've never heard of this process. You guys have a lot of tech things going on. No, that's very interesting. You're teaching me something new today.
But the toast with fire burns, no? Yeah. The wood for permitting to make the barrel. Okay, so this let in the wood some stronger taste, which for a red wine are not a problem because the red wine is more rich, no? To go to cover and to assemble those tastes. In a white wine, no. So if you wanted to be very pure on the grape variety and on the terroir, you need a wood which is not invasive. So the warmth of the wood through the water vapor, hot water vapor, or infrared light permit to warm the wood without burning it. So leaving only the sweetest, the most elegant, finest part of the wood flavors.
Wow.
That is important. And then the Viognier, aged 8 months in those barrels over the yeast with the batonnage. So with the batonnage process that permitted to absorb the yeast and so to become more and more complex.
In my body. Yeah, there's definitely more layers to this Viognier than the average Viognier that I've tried before. But I think
Sì.
the process for the barrel toasting is very interesting because you do get the oak influence, but it's very much in line and in balance with the acid, the flavors, all the components of the wine. It's not overpowering, which is often the case when you put it on oak.
See, it's important to keep the balance. Body, structure, complexity, but I feel that there is a nice level of acidity, sapidity, freshness. They are fundamental. The balance in the wines is always fundamental.
Wow, phenomenal. Both are very balanced, delicious. I love these wines. Do you want it? We don't have agave, but we can talk about the agave as well if you would like to say a few words.
Sì,
I enjoyed it
with pleasure.
for my good variety series, obviously.
Beh, the Gavi is a Cortese, no? Cortese grape, which comes from the eastern part of Piedmont. So in effect, it's far from here. And you say, why a company in Piedmont invested in Gavi so far away? But because a friend of ours had a very nice parcel of whom he was owner, and we decided to organize this wine production with him. So it's a plan with a friend. He's an agronomist, so he helps us in looking for this parcel. We bring the grape here, we vinify here, and is for having another touch in the Piedmontese white wines. So if Arneis is mostly focused on the fruit, so the pear, the peaches that you have underlined before, the Gavi is more floral. Is lighter in the structure, is more elegant. The white flowers, the agrumes comes out in the Gavi. So perhaps it's the first step in the white wines. Firstly, you taste the Gavi, then the Arneis, more fruity, and then the complexity of the Viognier in our range.
Yeah. And tell me about the pasito that you guys have, because I'm so interested in this winemaking style. My partner is from Sardinia, and when we were there in the fall, they were producing a pasito from Arvisniadu, which is a variety in Sardinia. I'm very interested to hear what yours is like.
Passito comes from the work of our Moscato. No? It's a Passito from Moscato. We have been lucky. We have found this wonderful parcel of Moscato in the village of Mango, which has a soil that gives a lot of minerality, and is quite rare. This. And is in the top of the hill at 550 meters of heightness. So the combination of the heightness and the soil gives acidity, sapidity, minerality, gives a lot of freshness. Which is a key point for the Moscato, because you know the Moscato has a sweetness, but the sweetness needs to be balanced by the freshness, and the freshness is given by the parcel. So with this project of Moscato, with a little quantity of grape, we produce the Passito. We harvest around 2,000 kilograms of grape that we leave in a particular room of our cellar with the temperature and humidity control for 4 months. These dry the grapes. From 2,000 kilos we get 1,000 kilograms, so the half. And then we produce around 700, 800 half bottles of Passito. Good for aging, good for cheeses.
Yeah. Wow. Well, when I come to Piemonte, I'm coming to visit so I can taste all of it.
Oh, we will taste all.
Is there anything else that you wanted to talk about the winery or Piemonte or anything?
I don't know, I've talked a lot. Do you have any particular curiosity that you or your friends has?
If you guys have questions, shout them out for Alessandra. I think you answered all of my questions. Oh, what do you drink in Piemonte? So the world drinks a lot of Barolo and Barbaresco, of course. But what do you drink every day when you started?
Here we have somebody that wants to come with you to us.
Of course, you have
For your next trip in Italy, you have already somebody that wants to come.
Of course, who wouldn't come to Piemonte?
Are you open for wine tasting to the public? Yes, absolutely. Just under reservation, you can write us an email, and we will reply you within the day, and we can fix the tasting with a lot of pleasure.
And Sarah asked, and I asked, where can everyone find your wines in the United States?
In the United States, we are distributed by Total Wine and More.
It's fine about wine.
They have two on.
That's a huge company in America, so you're everywhere.
Yes.
It'd be too hard to.
Yes. They have 200 shops spread in all the states, where we are mostly present in every shop. Not with every wine, but if there is a wine from us that you are curious to taste, they can move from one shop to the other. So they are a good partner for us, that permitted to be well distributed in all the states.
Amazing. And Simone, in Spain, are your wines in Spain?
No. If Limo 86 can help us, with pleasure.
Limona, just go to Piemonte. It's not that far away. She's in Madrid, I know.
Oh, Madrid is some hours of driving or 1 hour and a half of flight.
Easy.
Your wines are in UK? No.
Oh, wait, you got some.
No. In this case, in UK, we can deliver from the cellar. Where we are not present with distributions, we can deliver from the cellar. So in case for the UK, you can write us an email, and we can organize a delivery of the wines. So where somebody doesn't help us, we will arrive.
Of course, yeah. You can go there. Thank you so much, Alessandro. I really enjoyed this. You also taught me very much about Piemonte today, and just so you guys. Go ahead.
You was asking what I was drinking.
Yes.
Before.
Yes.
Nebbiolo.
You do drink.
Nebbiolo and Barbera, mostly in red, and Arneis in white, are the wines that never miss on my table. Then it depends. When I want something different, I like also to pick out from Piedmont, to try many different things, to learn how our variety also are expressed out from Piedmont. Yeah. I'm curious.
Is Arneis, I wanted to ask you, in Italy, is it mostly only planted in Piemonte, or can you find it in other regions of Italy?
Only in Piedmont.
Piemonte.
Sì.
Yeah. Very special. I love both the wines. Thank you very much. I really enjoyed this. And at the end of your day, so I'm sure you're ready for a big glass of wine now.
I will. But you are going to have lunch, so also hope so.
Yeah. Well, in Italy, you have more of a tradition of wine at lunch. In America, wine at lunch is quite as
No.
Whatever. We start our new tradition.
But no, if you don't say it, nobody will know it.
I like your style. Thank you very much, and thank you everyone who joined. And Alessandra, I'll be putting this on my feed, and it'll be on my Instagram channel, so everyone can watch this at a later date if they didn't get to join today as well.
Nikki, thank you so much for having guested us, and for your smile, your light, your happiness, and to share our wines with your friends. And thank you so much.
It's my pleasure, and I can't wait to be in Piemonte one day and actually get to meet you and share a bottle or have a glass of wine in person.
Looking forward for it.
Cheers.
Really.
Have a good night. Thank you.
Cin cin, grazie.
Thank everyone. Cheers.
Cin cin.
Salute. Gonna drink. Thanks everybody. Have a good Wednesday.
Ciao ciao.
Ciao.